Why can't you hear pterodactyls go to the bathroom? Because the P is silent. Hey YouTube, it's Zach. Alright, it doesn't work for me. Today I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about moving from Indiana to Arizona. Middle of 2013, I graduated high school and decided to move out to Arizona to live with some family and start college, get a new opportunity, and see where life took me. It was a crazy experience, guys. So much has changed. I had my 21st birthday out here. I've moved my fiance out here. I got closer to the side of the family that was out here. I've made new friends and new enemies and started a YouTube channel. But one of the biggest changes that's happened since moving is just the environment itself. It's so much different. In Indiana, I lived in a small town called Auburn, Indiana. It's the kind of town that when you Google Auburn or you Google DeKalb High School, where I went to school, you'll see DeKalb High School, Illinois, or Auburn, California. You Google Phoenix, and first thing will be the city, and then a bird. But first, the city. Anyway, moving out here brought me to a desert climate, where before I was living in just a small town. I said I went to DeKalb High School. Well, that was the only school in Auburn. Since moving to Phoenix, there's at least 3 schools really close to where I'm living now. My cousins who I was living with for a while, they all had a choice of where they were going. Auburn, Indiana was so small, it is only 7.1 square miles. To give you an idea of how drastically different that is coming out here, Phoenix is just under 518 square miles. Auburn didn't even have 13,000 people living there. Phoenix has over 1.5 million. It's the 6th largest population in America. You do the stupidest thing you've ever done in Auburn, everybody in the town will know about it the next day. You do the stupidest thing you've ever done in Phoenix, that's not even the stupidest thing they've probably seen that day. I remember one time at DeKalb, there was a kid who was a new kid, and somebody didn't like him, so he punched him, and the kid fell and hit a locker and passed out and had internal brain bleeding. It was horrible. That was the biggest news there for weeks. Something like that happens in Phoenix. People are like, yeah, but did you hear about the teacher having sex with a student over here and the bomb threat over at the other school? And another huge change is daylight savings time. I didn't realize that Phoenix doesn't recognize daylight savings time. Everywhere else changes their time. Phoenix's clock is always the same, which is really convenient, but kind of weird, especially when you're trying to talk to people back in Auburn. Anyone who's ever lived in Indiana or anywhere out in the Midwest really knows that the weather is bipolar. One day it'll be raining, the next snowing, and then sunny, and then a windstorm, and then back to rain. You never know what you're gonna get. Out here, you know what you're gonna get. Hello and welcome to the 8 o'clock news. I'm Daniel Schwarzenberger with your weather report. Today we're gonna have sun. Tomorrow it's gonna be sunny with a chance of sun. And then Wednesday, more sun. Thursday we may get a little rain, but more than likely just more sun. Speaking of rain, that's another thing. I loved rain out in Auburn. It would thunderstorm and I'd just go sit out on my porch and watch it storm. It was awesome. Out here, you can do that, but it only rains at certain points of the year. I mean, when it does, it rains really, really hard, but it almost never rains. You almost always get sun. And the sun brings heat. That's what they say. It's a dry heat. It's a dry heat. But guess what? It's hot. It is hotter than hell out here. Sure, summers in Auburn could get a little warm, but it was not 110 warm. Out here, it's not unheard of for it to get over 110 on a daily basis. If it's less than 100 half the time, it's weird out here in the summer. Dry heat this, dry heat that. My oven's a dry heat, but I'm not about to crawl in it and say it feels good. And the drivers. People can't drive here. I'm sure part of it's just the fact that there's so many people here. There's bound to be a lot of people who can't drive well. But the fact of the matter is, you gotta watch your back out here. People will pull right in front of you. People will cut you off constantly. People will honk at you 1 second after a light changes. At least 90% of the people out here view yellow lights as a challenge. In Auburn, it's not too bad. I think everyone's just used to driving their tractors around. Yeehaw! Ding 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 ding. And Sheriff Joe. This is the most egotistical dude I've ever heard of. This guy was the sheriff in Maricopa County for the longest time, and he had a show called The Joe Show. What kind of a sheriff needs a TV show about him? And he had these controversial practices where he had chain gangs of people out in those hot ass days working on the sides of the road. He kept people out in tents in the heat. He made inmates wear pink underwear. Isn't being someone's prison bitch enough without having to wear pink underwear with it? And finally, in Phoenix, we have what's called Haboobs. I couldn't make this up if I tried. They're massive dust storms. Just a giant cloud of dust rolls in. And actually, they're kind of cool to watch. What can I say? I like Haboobs. It's not that Phoenix is better or worse than Auburn. They both have their own little traits that's good about them. It's just such a different atmosphere. It's like day and night how different they are. These last 3 years have brought some crazy new experiences that I never thought possible, because they weren't possible in a place like Auburn. But there's a lot of things that Auburn offered that's just not possible in such a big place like Phoenix. Anyway guys, thanks for watching this video. I'm Zach. If you liked what you saw, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment, tell me where you're from. It's always interesting to see the differences between places. So I'm off for now, but I'll see you in the future.